Mr. Administrator, thanks for being here. Just by way of preface, I will ask that a letter from a number of my colleagues to you about the tailpipe emission standards, be entered into the record, Mr. Chairman.
Without objection.
No doubt you know, sir, that proposal has been met with a fair amount of concern. So I would just ask that you work with biofuels advocates and others in the liquid fuels space to make sure that we, to the greatest extent possible, we can move forward together, because I think the proposal misses the mark. But what I want to spend most of my time on, sir, is just a colloquy with you on E15 in summer months. Give me a sense, sir, of where you think we're at.
We are excited to be responding to the petition of the 8 governors. We've started our rulemaking process there. So we're moving along that path. I know the original ask was for both years 2023 and 2024. It looks like the rulemaking will only be able to be applied to 2024 because there would be a significant disruption in pricing, consumer pricing and the like, if we move too quickly in 2023. So we feel very confident that E15 being sold year-round will be eligible and ready to go in 2024. 2023 is a little too soon for that rulemaking.
So, and I've heard varying interpretations of this, but for those 8 states, making E15 available doesn't do anything to keep E10 from being available. Is that right? I mean, people would have the option to have either fuel sold?
I'd have to circle with that. I think our focus for that rulemaking is for E15.
Yeah, it's my understanding and my hope that giving them the same Reed vapor pressure waiver that E10 has would mean that both products would be available. If that's not the case, please follow up.
And we're talking about the 1 PSI, correct?
Yeah, right.
Yes.
And so there have been some people who've been concerned that at some point giving E15 this additional flexibility at some point takes it away from E10. That's not my understanding, but I just want to make sure I'm reading these documents right.
We'll get back with you on that.
So from a broader perspective, I mean, talk to me about what's the administration's vision for E15, maybe not just in those 8 states, but where do we need to be going from a broader perspective?
Well, I think we're taking a look at that. The way the agency's process work is we get these petitions from governors. And we are legally required to respond to those petitions. I think we've responded to the 8 that we received. And as you can see, we're taking action. What we do is we have to do a modeling analysis of what we believe the air quality impacts would be based on the number of states.
Mr. Administrator, I'm sorry, I wasn't clear enough in my question. So let's set aside your regulatory process. Last Congress, on a bipartisan vote, this House voted to allow year-round E15 across the country. Does your agency or the administration have a view on whether or not that would be good policy?
I think it would depend. I can't speak to whether or not we have provided the technical assistance to that law or that proposed law that would take into account any air quality impacts. Listen, we'd have to do the appropriate modeling, which we are doing and have done for these 8 states. We'd have to do that for the country, and we'd have to look at and determine if there are any adverse impacts from year-round sale of E15 nationwide. I can't say we've done that technical analysis yet.
Yeah, and I would just, and obviously, back when we cared, and we still care about smog, of course, right? But I think carbon has grown in, more people care about carbon than perhaps about smog. And there's been a tremendous amount of progress made with regard to smog in urban America. It was really that issue related to Reed vapor pressure and when do these products evaporate into the atmosphere and what impact does that have on smog that caused this question about to what extent should biofuels be made broadly available. The reality is, though, as you know, sir, E15 has a lower Reed vapor pressure rating than E10 does, so making E15 more broadly available doesn't do anything to hurt smog. Quite to the contrary, it would help both from a carbon perspective and a smog perspective, and so I would just ask that the administration lean in to this incredible opportunity for our country related to biofuels a bit more than it seems like you are today. One of the things about pesticide labeling, with the little time I have left, sir, Shortly after being confirmed, you said, and I'm talking about pesticide labeling, scientific integrity is one of EPA's foundational values, and as administrator, I am committed to ensuring that every decision we make meets rigorous scientific standards. Do you stand by that statement? Any context you can provide for us vis-a-vis pesticide labeling?
I do. I stand by that statement.